Hello friend and welcome to my lore video of Genshin Impact. So as you all know, Natlan is coming out. The trailer have dropped and I have noticed a couple of things and I have my own prediction for the upcoming Natlan region. So let's talk about it. So from trailer we can get a couple of things. Natlan main theme is revolving around Abyss. So we are finally exploring the Abyss. Like throughout the story so far we only heard that Abyss is this, Abyss is that, but now we are finally exploring it. The first one nation focused on Khandria. Fontaine was more focused on in its own story. There was some of Celestial lore and we did saw Skirk who told us about the outside world at the end. So now the Natlan is focusing on the Abyss, and one of the big things we see in the trailer is the pilgrimage. There is this annual competition happening and the winners of these competition will get to become the warriors and all that. And during the trailer we can hear a voice line which says that pilgrimage another purpose is to collect the fire, and then we see the eternal sacred flame which is protecting Nathan from the Abyss. You know, the light keeps the dark away, same with these flame is keeping the Abyss away. I think it's like the Oratrice mechanism they released Cardinal in Fontaine, because if you remember in Fontaine with the trials there was special kind of energy which the Oratrice mechanism they released Cardinal was collecting. So I think this sacred flame is similar from all the battles during pilgrimage. All of the battle during pilgrimage competition will produce some kind of flame which is like a fuel to these sacred flames. But the fact that they introduced this plot point that this flame is keeping the Abyss away, which means most likely at one point this flame will go out in the story and Abyss will invade Natlan. Pyro Archon Maoika also says that Natlan have like 1 year left and they are on the verge of destruction. So she might be referring to that Abyss is growing stronger, or maybe the sacred flame is growing weaker, something like that, that Abyss will eventually infiltrate them. And then in trailer we can see Ether along with his friend in some dark place, which most likely could be Abyss. Now there are two plot points here. Either they got trapped in the Abyss and they're trying to escape it, or they are inside the Abyss on their free will and they're trying to close the door. Most likely the door to the Abyss will open and Ether and everyone is here to close the doors. Or this could be a completely different place and not Abyss. We have saw good amount of dark places which are not necessarily the Abyss. With the all Natlan theme going around Abyss, this dark place could most likely be the Abyss. The biggest thing we got from the trailer which got everyone hyped was Maoika fighting against Capitano. Now Capitano was pretty angry in the trailer. He said, I will take the Gnosis and I will make rule for Natlan. So he's talking about making rule from Natlan, which means he is familiar, so he could most likely be from Natlan. And Maoika says this is more than Tesserista, so Capitano might have some personal beef with all of Natlan or some personal reason. Maybe he thinks he can protect Natlan better than Pyro Archon and that's why he's like trying to defeat her and become the new ruler and something like that. But 100% this fight will get interrupted. In no way we will have a winner and loser this early in the story. Capitano boss fight will happen, but I'm pretty sure it will happen later in the story. Speaking of Capitano boss fight, I don't think Capitano will be the main villain. There's always a Harbinger boss fight, but Harbingers are not usually the main villain in any nation. There's always a bigger force. If you're talking about Liyue, Child, a Harbinger was not the villain. Osael was. If you're talking about Inazuma, Sinora was not the main villain. Raiden was. If you're talking about Fontaine, Arlecchino was not the main villain. All Devourer Narwhal was. So there's always a bigger threat above Harbinger, which is usually the main threat. We will get some superior main villain and then Capitano and Maoika will team up to defeat the superior being, and Maoika will give up her Gnosis as a thank you and or as a trade for Capitano help. Because if we remove Venti, all the Gnosis so far have been trades. Morax traded his Gnosis for his own freedom. Yaimiko traded a Gnosis for Traveler's life. Nahida traded her Gnosis for information, and Nuvelet traded Focalor's Gnosis for Arlecchino helps. So far all the Gnosis have been a trade, so I feel like this one will be a trade too. Plus from Capitano design he will most likely be playable, which means he's not a bad guy, because all the characters who are playable are either friends or on good terms with main character and they're not bad guys, which means Capitano is also not some bad guy who will just beat up the Archon and take the Gnosis by force. They will definitely come to an agreement. Now let's talk about the greater threat. I've been saying there might be a greater threat. My personal theory is that we might get a Sinner here, because Natlan theme is revolving around Abyss and all, and there is no better villain than a Sinner. As they introduced Sinner in the latest Archon quest, Dan Sleeve told us about the 5 sinners of Khandria. These sinners, they obtain the power of Abyss and they become like as strong as the gods themselves. They have world shattering power, and since with all the Abyss theme around Natlan, a sinner, they can make Capitano the big main villain, because Sumeru, a Harbinger, was the main villain. There was no greater threat in Sumeru. A Harbinger was the main villain, so they could make Capitano, but I feel like they wouldn't. The fact that they introduced Sinner to us just before Natlan has to be some kind of hint that we might see a Sinner very very soon. I don't think if they introduce a sinner, the sinner will be defeated or anything. He might just retreat and something like that. There's definitely going to be Capitano boss fight too. So I wonder how it will play out. Maybe we'll get Capitano boss fight early and then we will defeat him and make friends with him. And then we will get the real villain boss fight later where Capitano will help us take him down. Or Capitano is the main villain. Either way, Capitano is taking an L because I'm pretty sure he will become playable. And to become playable, he needs to become good. And to become good, he needs to take an L. Only then he will get his redemption. So he is definitely taking an L. And to defeat Capitano, obviously Mavuiga and Ether will team up. In the live stream, they did say Ether will eventually team up with the Mavuiga, the Paro Archon. Ether will fight alongside her. So far, Ether have fought alongside every Archon. He fought with Venti against the wall, and he fought with Morax against Azdaha. He fought with AE against Raiden. Well, not really, he was a spectator. He fought with Nahida against Skara. He fought with Nuvilet, not a Archon, but something of equal level. He fought with Nuvilet against all Devour Naval. So he has always fought with the gods of the nations. Obviously, this time he will take down Capitano with the help of Mavuiga. So Capitano is taking the L even if he's not the main villain, because we need a Harbinger boss fight. Every nation have one Harbinger boss fight except for monsters. So we do need a Harbinger boss fight. Or they might introduce a different Harbinger. Maybe, like a lot of people are saying that the other Harbinger gonna be here too. Forgot her name. She will be here too, so she could be a boss fight and not Capitano. But yeah, if Capitano is the boss fight here, that means we are fighting a god next nation Snezinaya, because first Harbinger, the strongest Harbinger, is down. So that means Tsarista is all that's left. So Snezinaya boss fight will definitely be Tsarista, or it could be second Harbinger. Overall, yeah, these are my predictions for Natlan. Prediction 1 is that Abyss will eventually invade Natlan. Most likely the Sacred Flame will grow weaker or Abyss will go stronger. Traveler and his friend will try to close the Abyss door and something like that. The duel will definitely get interrupted. This is not a prediction. This is 100% gonna get interrupted. They're not giving us a loser and winner this early in the story between like two strongest character of this nation. Also, my other prediction is that there will be a bigger villain except for Capitano. My prediction is that we might have a sinner, one of the 5 sinner. The fact that they introduce it to us just before Natlan has to be a hint. Overall, I'm very hyped for the story. I'm really excited to know about the Abyss and other characters. There is resurrection plot too, which I have predicted quite a while ago that there will be resurrection plot. The reason I'm so sure about resurrection plot is because the big event we got this update kind of like gave us a hint. So if you remember last year 3.8 update, you will remember that we met a character who looked like a human, but all along that character was basically an Oceanid. And then we go into Fontaine and then we realize that all the Fontaine people are descendant of Oceanid. So technically all the Fontaine people are Oceanid. So during the 3.8 event, they gave us a hint. And in 4.8 event, we saw Durin, who died 500 years ago. He was killed by Duvalin and Venti. Then he got resurrected in Simulanka. So there is a resurrection plot in 4.8 event. So most likely this is a hint for 5.0 where we will have resurrection. But I don't really know how this resurrection will work. There's also the ancient name. During the trailer, one character says once your ancient name is gone, you are pretty much dead. So this ancient name is basically, during the live stream they explained that ancient name is like the names of the heroes. Basically these ancient names are given to the heroes of current era. So these ancient names represent the wills of these great heroes who died in the past. And that's why during the trailer they says once your ancient name is gone, you are dead. Again, ancient name represent the ideal of the heroes. And you know what they say, a man is truly dead once he is forgotten. Once your ancient name is gone, your ideals, your teaching are forgotten. You are forgotten. That means you are dead too. So it could be something like that. They actually gave us an ancient name for one of the character. If you remember the 4-star character, if you remember the new 4-star character Kachina, the blonde chibi, she also have an ancient name. Overall, yeah, I'm very excited for the lore. We will see how I could be very correct or I could be absolutely wrong, but that's the fun of the theories. Overall, these are my predictions for Natlan upcoming story, and tell me your predictions in the comment section and if you agree with my predictions. Till then, yeah, see ya.